Welcome back to the Poolside Podcast. Grab a cold drink, pull up a chair, because the Bay Area just got hit with an absolute heat wave. Forget the rumors, forget the speculation. It's official. Debo Samuel's back in the red and gold. 1 year after having his bags packed and sent to Washington, number 19 is back on the practice field in Santa Clara, signed a 1 year, $7 million emergency deal. Y'all say emergency? Yeah. Look, we all knew John Lynch had to do something. With Ricky Pearsall sideline, Christian Kirk dealing with the bad calf, George Kittle status up in the air, and even Mike Evans, man, he got a quad. And even the rookie that they just drafted, he's on the sideline. Man, we had to get a receiver in here. The 49ers wide receiver room is looking less like a Super Bowl contender and more like an emergency room. What do we do? You call the ultimate Swiss Army knife. Debo didn't even need a playbook when he showed up for day 5 of training camp. He practically wrote the thing. But before we pop champagne, we got to ask the real questions. Is a 30-year-old Debo the ultimate dirt cheap insurance policy to inject some serious yak back into Kyle Shanahan's offense? Pause. Or is relying on aging injury prone vet a band-aid solution that's going to stunt our young guys and crowd Christian McCaffrey's targets? I don't know. Only time will tell. We are breaking down the absolute pros, the terrifying cons, and whether putting the $7 million asset back on kick returns is genius or pure madness. Let's dive into the deep end. Fans, I want to get your reaction. Hit me in the DMs. Comment on YouTube. Just let me know. Hit me on Spotify. Let's talk about it. We back like we never left. 1 year after being traded to Washington, Debo is back again, baby. Is this a dirt cheap insurance policy? It could be, but I think it's instant yak injection. He'll help a little bit there, but when you're 30 years old, it can be a dive to the end. See, his injury history is one thing you got to look out for because Debo, he has his up and downs. Sometimes he misses time on the field, and that's due to the way he plays football. I mean, he's a Swiss Army knife, right? He's not your prototypical wide receiver, but he is like an all-around player. If you think about it, he will block, he'll catch passes, he'll run the ball out the backfield. I mean, he's like everything. In the screen game, he's great. Kick returns, he can be good too. One thing I would say is he's not a very good route runner, and he has a hard time of beating press man coverage. Now, we asked ourselves, why did the Niners have to go and bring in another receiver when last year they drafted one? Year before that, they drafted one. This year, they drafted one. I'm telling you, the reason is because we got to look at the 49ers wide receiver medical ward. It's crazy and it's really bad here. Let's talk about it. All right, let's get into this deep end because we need to talk about the elephant in the training room, the emergency signing of Debo Samuel. If you look at the Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch era, their draft strategy at wide receiver reads less like a scouting board and more like a medical chart. Think about it. The Ricky Pearsall tragedy, how he first got hurt, that's not his fault. He's shopping, whatever he was doing in downtown San Francisco, and someone tried to rob him and they shoot him. But he missed time for that. But let's talk about his time since he's been back. He's missed time last year with injuries. This year, he's already going to be out for the year because of a knee injury. It's like, man, either the kid has a lot of bad luck, or maybe John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan should have listened to the coach when he told them, the one who said, "We play to win the game." He told them, Mr. Edwards told him, you got to protect him from himself. He always gets hurt. He's going to get hurt. But, Niners didn't listen. They still wanted to go their route, and they keep drafting them. Now, let's go back in time a little bit and just like digest this a little bit more, because if you look at their pattern, their history, they always try to look for like guys that are on the cheap or who are injured that can possibly have their greatest time with the Niners. Let's go back. Tell me if you guys remember this name, Jalen Hurd. You remember Jalen Hurd? Man, where's he at, huh? I'm talking about Mr. MIA. Yeah, he looked good in preseason. I remember when he started playing, and then, you know, a third round pick. He had massive hybrid potential who suffered a broken back in preseason, then tore his ACL the next season, and spent 3 straight years on the IR without even playing a single regular season game. And then, Deebo Samuel. Like, we brought him back. But if you think about it, when he was here, he spent a lot of times on the sideline too with soft tissue injuries and hamstring pulls and foot fractures. And because of, the way he plays wide receiver, or should we say wide back, in Kyle Shanahan's offense. I'm just telling you, it's just a bad thing. Now we look at the current cap crisis, right? So now before to today, and then the high profile rookie, Deshaun Stribling, where's he? Hamstring injury on the sideline. Mike Evans just got a quad strain. Christian Kirk, who they signed, he's even hurt. It's like, man, what is this? Man, what's going on with the Niners? I just don't understand it. It's like they bring guys in here and guys instantly get hurt. But I kind of saw this coming with Mike Evans. If you look at him last year, he got hurt with Tampa Bay a lot. He missed a lot of time. Excuse me. The one that's surprising to me is Stripling. I mean, you're younger, but hey, that means you don't hydrate yourself enough, or you don't stretch correctly when you get those hamstring injuries. And that's what it seems like to me on his end. But who knows? I mean, I'm not even too sure he's going to be great, because look at the track record of the Niners drafting receivers. Man, it's not pretty. It's really not pretty. I'm sorry to say. And then let's not forget, remember when they took Brandon Ayuk? Now Brandon Ayuk, he's been like one of the most durable ones that they had until after he signed the contract. But, we go back to that time. That's another story. We'll definitely talk about that. But as of right now, no, we're not going to discuss that too much. But yeah, he had his ups and downs too. And man, was that bad. Oh, gosh. So you think about it. I mean, are the 49ers cursed? Or are these self-inflicted roster building wounds? Viewership, you let me know. Followers, let me know. Everyone, let me know. Hit me up in the comments. I want to know, because I can't call it. I mean, they want to blame it on the substation, but I mean, is it really the substation? I think it's the curse of moving to Santa Clara when the Niners, they really should stay in San Francisco, but that's another story later on down the road. So here we go. It could be the cost of the curse. See, but guys, this isn't just about losing players on the field. It's about the brutal financial reality crippling this franchise as well. Man, this really gets deep. So according to analytics tracking from the Over the Cap, the 49ers recently topped the entire NFL by bleeding over $95 million in salary cap space that was restricted to players sitting on injured reserve, pub, or auxiliary absent lists. Think about that. Nearly $100 million with a 300 plus cap completely burned a hole in the front office pocket, while the guys in suits watching the luxury box, the situation got so extreme that the league actually handed the 49ers an emerging $20.6 million cap adjustment credits over insurance policies and payouts, just to offset the historic pile of medical bills they racked up from stars like Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, Ed Michelle, and even more than that. See, this is the problem I have, is the Lynch and Shanahan medical game. Think about that. So why does this keep happening? Because John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have a documented borderline obsessive history of drafting players who are already hurt, betting that they can cheat the medical system. Think about this. They actually hunt for value by picking guys with severe college and red flags who you have to take. Ricky Pearsall for first off. He came in with pre-existing wear before his PCO completely gave out. That was in college. You look at Jalen Hurd. Remember him? He had major physical concerns come out of Baylor before his back and ACL failed him entirely. And then remember these guys. They use like third round picks and second round picks on guys like Cameron Latu or Marcus Lattimore. Remember Marcus Lattimore? He was extorting players who had college medical files, were thicker than a playbook, and they still pulled these guys in. I don't understand it. They think they can outsmart the consensus board by grabbing damaged goods at a discount. But the Sports Illustrated analysis of Lynch's top 3 round picks shows a staggering failure rate. Instead of building deep, durable roster, they are light on death and constantly playing their top heavy players don't snag. They pray that they stay healthy. And you can't build a team like that. Right now in August, the wheels are spinning off again. Look at the current cap tracker. Ricky Pearsall is gone. Rookie Deshaun Strickland, he's out with a hamstring injury. You just got Mike Evans with the quad injury. They lost Malik Mustafa's. He's missing more time with hamstring tightness. The list goes on and on. Man, this is so alarming. I mean, I don't know, because we got to think about, like, are we going to keep adding injury prone players to this team, or can we like try to build something for the future? We all love the Niners. We love them to death. We love them for getting us to the Super Bowls. I'm still at arms with the last one, but still, Kyle Shanahan, he's a good coach. I think a lot of Kyle Shanahan's general manager process gets in front of his head coaching, because he seems to always draft like he's still the OC instead of drafting like he's a head coach, where you should build depth and get guys that are not injury prone, guys that can stay healthy and stay on the field to give you production during the season and in the postseason. And it seems like we're always like missing that mark, always missing that mark. So it is a luxury to bring back Debo for $7 million. I will agree there. But it's an emergency bandage on a dam that's bursting, if you ask me. Viewers, look at the numbers. Is it time to fire the strength and conditioning staff? Or do we need to lock John Lynch out of the draft room when there's a medical red flag on the board? I honestly, we do need to think of getting like a draft guru in here. I'm just going to be honest with you. I've been saying this for years. But, we'll see how it goes. And, and then having all these receivers that can't stay healthy. Imagine if Kyle Shanahan and Brandon Ayuk were on the same page, instead of like the turmoil that they have from the beginning into this point now. That's the main reason why when he was due for a contract, I was so adamant on trading him away, because I saw this coming a mile away. You got to look back in history. I mean, first off, he was in a doghouse with Kyle when he came to the NFL. Secondly, when he has production on the field, and then when they're going to the contract situation, it was issues with Brandon Ayuk, issues with his girlfriend, issues with this, issues with that. He didn't want to listen to reason. He wanted this. You could have signed him for this much, but then you wanted him to hold out. He held out. I mean, just the up and down, back and forth. It's crazy. So, since we're going to do that, let's just look into the rise, fall, and the complete disappearance of Brandon Ayuk. I think this is going to be a real good one. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Here we go. Listeners, pull up your lounge chairs, get in a little closer, because we need to talk about a story so bizarre, so unprecedented, it sounds like a Hollywood script. Think about it. We are tracking the absolute destruction of the relationship between the 49ers and the all-time all-pro target. This is the definite timeline of the Brandon Ayuk crisis, from $120 million extension to an absolute ghost town. Remember the extension and the injury. Let's take it back to the summer of 2024. After months of grueling, bitter drama in the 49ers cave, once again, like they do, they handed him a massive 4-year, $120 million contract extension. He gets nearly $50 million across his 8 months. The fans are thrilled. The team looks unstoppable for a little bit, but then disaster strikes in Week 7 against Kansas City. He suffers a catastrophic knee injury, tearing his ACL, MCL, and meniscus. His season was over instantly. Finished up with just 374 yards. But hey, he's got long-term financial security, right? Wrong. Because this is where the timeline goes completely off the rails. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's go. The Ghost Protocol. Here it is. In the summer of 2025, Ayuk is rehabbing, right? He returns to training camp, but starts executing a bizarre public relations strategy, trying to draw intense public attention while recovering. He claims he's hitting his medicals, GPS metrics, but behind closed doors, he refuses to do his formal rehab with the team staff. By mid-season 2025, the relationship completely implodes. Ayuk goes entirely AWOL. He stops showing up, cuts off communication, and the 49ers literally cannot contact their $120 million receiver. John Lynch does the unthinkable. In July 2025, the 49ers officially void $27 million of Ayuk's 2026 salary cap guarantees. the technical breach of contract for missing mandatory rehab. Then in December, they banish him to the reserve left squad list. Just like that, the 49ers stopped paying him a single cent while still retaining his football rights. Can't blame him there, right? You get the money, you got to show up and put into work. And he wasn't doing it. Then we had this social media meltdown. Oh man, this is bad. That brings us right now to the summer of 2026. After months of dead silence, Ayuk resurfaces on social media and he has scorched every bridge left in Northern California. I mean, he goes on Instagram calling Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch weirdos and creepy predators. He posts video mocking Shanahan. He literally uploads the video of himself opening a backpack full of cash, throwing wads of bills into the air to prove he doesn't need the team's money. He's publicly texting that he's in the final piece. He's the final piece for the Washington Commanders to win the Super Bowl, even going as far as to crash the Commanders' training camp before security has to escort him out. Man, this dude done lost it. Oh, and the cherry on top, he has reportedly filed his agent and has an active outstanding misdemeanor arrest warrant, for exhibition of speeding. I mean, I don't want to go into that because that's like his business. I mean, you do what you do. You do the crime. You know what? You're going to have to do the time. So either he's going to learn or he's not going to learn. I mean, that's on AU. It's just a bad situation that just continuously gets worse and worse. So as we sit here today in 2026 camp, it's about to open. The Commanders' interest is completely frozen over the bizarre, erratic antics of Ayuk. He's trapped in an absolute football limbo because he refused to even petition for league reinstatement. He has effectively vaporized his own career. So partner with Ricky Pearsall's official out for the year, some fans are asking, if 49 should pack things up at Ayuk. I say no. I don't think they should. I think you move on from this guy. This guy has shown you that he's just not the one. He can't do it. I mean, man, you cannot completely have a guy like this that just like blows up at like an eternal flame at any point in the season. Yeah, he wants to be here, then he doesn't want to be here. He wants to be part of the solution, he doesn't want to be part of the solution. I don't get it, man. I mean, even during 2024 when they gave him that big contract, I was screaming to trade him. They had a trade in place with Pittsburgh, and Kyle ran up to the front office and begged for them to keep him. I said get rid of him then, and I'm saying it now. You have to move off of him. I mean, you got to just suffer the losses, suffer the consequences. Whatever happens this year just happens. We're going to root for the Niners whether they win or they lose. Doesn't matter, but as of right now, I am not offering him a cent. I'm not going to offer him no apologies. I'm not trying to make up and bring him back because I'm going to tell you right now, one thing that my grandmother always told me when I was a kid is people will show you who they are at their worst and highest points. At their worst, when it's high and everything is good, it's all smile and dandy. But when things are bad and how they act and how this kid has acted, come on. We don't need that. Let's move on. Let's just move on. So I don't want to go back to that saying, should we bring him back or should we just let him go? Move on from that. And as for now, let's just like move off from the Niners for a second. And I want to change the segue into talking about my Golden State Warriors. But before I get into the Warriors, I do want to applaud the San Francisco Giants, baby. I love today what my man Buster Posey is doing. He's trading players away left and right, which I thought he should do. I think he should make more trades. I love that you're bringing in young talent. You're bringing in young players to come and try to build around Bryce Eldridge. I just love it, man. I think that's the smartest move ever. I mean, because some of these guys, you're not going to keep long term, and I kind of see him following the San Jose Sharks model, which I think is an absolute no-brainer to me. Just something you have to do because, I mean, think about it. The Giants this year, it's been a season of turmoil. These last few seasons have been bad. I mean, Buster Posey was on World Series winning championships, going to the playoffs, being a factor out there in Major League Baseball. And now the Giants are kind of like laughing stocks of the whole MLB, and I don't like that and I don't respect it. I just want to think that it's time for us as Giants and as Giants fans, we got to move on. It's time to move on. We've all seen this. It's time to get rid of some of these old players, and I love the moves that he's making right now. Even if they don't work out, they are the right moves, the correct thing to do. You have to get younger because when you don't get younger, you're not getting better. Which brings me to my next thing. So I want to talk about what happened last week with the Golden State Warriors. Mike Dunleavy Jr. Hey, let's talk about it. Do we have a problem or is it nothing? Here we go. The Dunleavy dilemma and the missing of plan B. Let's think about it. All right, let's pivot from the gridiron to the hardwood because if you thought the Niners had drama, the Golden State Warriors are currently drilling in their own possible crisis. Let's think about it for a second. We need to talk about how general manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. just went full blown all in on chasing LeBron James, held the entire franchise's summer hostage, and walked away with absolutely nothing. We didn't get nothing in return. Fans are furious. The national media is circling, and we have to ask ourselves this: do the Niners have a massive Mike Dunleavy problem? Let's talk about it. The first blunder, the LeBron blindside. Now, I won't say it's a blindside because I seen this coming. I knew he wasn't going to come, but how come you don't have a plan B for this situation? I don't get that. So let's look at the facts of how this went down over the last few weeks. Knowing that Steph Curry and LeBron James' partnership was the ultimate dream for Dunleavy, not for me, but for him, it completely paused the Warriors' offseason business. They plotted, they cleared obstacles, and they left the door wide open, but internally, it was a complete ghost town. Think about it. Steve Kerr later admitted he never realistically thought they were going to get LeBron. They practically had zero communication between the front office and LeBron's camp during the final stretch, while LeBron was sitting there talking to Nick Nurse and planning his move to Philadelphia. Look, I saw this coming. I didn't know it was going to go to Philly. I thought it was going to be either with the Miami Heat or back to Cleveland. I didn't see him going to the Warriors anyway. But man, it's just like, wow. Even though you didn't get him, which I was happy for, you should have had like a segue to someone else. Think about it. There was no plan B in the cap trap. This is funny. Here we go. And this is where the Mike Dunleavy problem gets terrifying. There was no plan B because they waited until late July for LeBron's decision. 95% of impactful offseason business had already been concluded. Free agents picked clean, and the Warriors were running back a roster that finished with a 37-45-10 seed lottery team last year. Man. Worse yet, the only real plan B left on Dunleavy's table is a potential disaster. Re-signing a 36-year-old Draymond Green. Think about that. To a massive contract extension. Although it's for 1 year, he still did it, right? After he declines player options just because they have nowhere else to pivot. See, now we have pundits like this dork, Kendrick Perkins, putting Dunleavy firmly on the clock because the front office is completely paralyzed by this. I mean, do we have front office infighting? I don't know, but let's not pretend everything has happened behind closed doors in the Bay. Go back to draft night. ESPN cameras caught the incredibly animated viral argument between Dunleavy and Joe Lacob. Now, it could have been nothing, but it showed something. See, Dunleavy tried to joke it off with the media saying they were debating the best golf courses in San Francisco, but let's be real. The reality is this. Lacob was anxious to pull the trigger on the youngster, Yaxel Lindenborg, who I'm glad they got at 11, while Dunleavy was frantically trying to weigh last-minute trade-down offers from Charlotte and Oklahoma City. It showed a front office that isn't aligned, for one, right after a time when reports suggest Joe Lacob was eager to prove he could build a winning team after the Steph Curry era, which sounds an awful lot like giving up competing right now. So, for me, as I sit here and look at this, man, look, it's not looking too well for our Warriors. I think that I've been saying this for years. I think it's time for us to think about our strategies of rebuilding this team. This team needs to rebuild. We are getting way, way too old here. I mean, we're dependent on 36, 37, almost 40-year-old players on our team. That reminds me of those old Houston Rockets teams where they had Charles Barkley, Clyde Drexler, and Hakeem Olajuwon and thought they were going somewhere. And you aren't going nowhere with those teams. You're not. You're not going to go nowhere with them old teams because if one thing I say with the NBA, it's a young man's game, and I will stand on my all 10 toes about that one, baby. It is a young man's game. So as it stands today in August 2026, the Warriors are reportedly close to their final roster. And the biggest moves right now are signing veteran minimum guys like, I don't think they're going to get him, Kelly Olynyk or Georges Niang. I don't see that. We're actually wasting the final elite years of Steph Curry's prime. Where are we? Because our front office swung for the fences on LeBron, which I thought was a bad move, and forgot to bring backup bad. There we go. So, I want to ask you guys this. Do you think that was it Dunleavy like not having a plan B, or was this part of his plan of all? Is this what he wanted to do? Maybe he figured, well, we're not getting LeBron. We run it back, and we should start the rebuild process. Because if you think about it, adding Yaxel, you have a couple other young pieces on the team. Maybe they're putting something together. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just trying to just put out hits and misses here and there, but we'll see. So let's pump the brakes before we completely throw him under the bus. And is it incredible? Easy to sit here in August and scream no plan B, but let's look at the actual reality of the NBA landscape. This summer, Dunleavy isn't incompetent. He is a GM showing the exact kind of discipline that this franchise desperately lacked during the end of the Bob Mize era. But let's think about it. First of all, swinging for LeBron James wasn't a delusion. It was a calculated risk that you have to take when you have Steph Curry on your roster. If you have even a 5% chance to pair two of the greatest players of the generation, you clear the decks and try to do it to make it happen. I wouldn't do it because I thought LeBron James was he's well past 40. He's on the downside of his career, and he can't come in here and be the main focus. That's one thing I will say. But, we always want to give pros and cons to every situation. So, but what was the alternative? Overpaying for B-tier lists? If Dunleavy had panicked and emptied the cupboard, trading away Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, and 3 unprotected first-round picks just to get someone who doesn't move the needle, we'll be sitting by this pool slamming him for destroying our future. He refused to get desperate. Well, if you got rid of those guys, but you got rid of Kuminga, I'm not mad about that. If you got rid of Podziemski, I'm going to tell you right now, you'll be way better off. So, I won't go that far. Now, look at what Dunleavy actually protected. By not forcing a bad trade, the Warriors entered this season with all their young guys intact and crucially, all their draft capital completely, unmoved. The NBA trade market is living, breathing thing. Teams that look stable right now are going to fracture by the February trade deadline. A superstar will become disgruntled, a front office will blow it up, and because Dunleavy didn't waste his chips on a mediocre plan B in July, the Warriors are perfectly positioned to be the highest bidder when a real landscape shifting trade target becomes available in mid-season. Maybe. And let's not stop acting like this is the exact same roster that missed the playoffs. A year of development for Podziemski, taking another leap. I don't know about that, but it could happen. And the financial flexibility to make moves later. Now, that means you cannot give Podziemski $24 million. Don't do it. If you do that, it's going to be a big mistake. So the argument in the draft room with Joe Lacob, that wasn't crisis. That's what a healthy, competitive front office looks like. Lacob wanted a shiny new toy, and Dunleavy was doing his job, weighing real value. So don't call it a Dunleavy problem. Call it Dunleavy refusing to set the future on fire just to appease impatient fans in August. Maybe. Well, folks, let's wrap it up here. It's a wild day here by the poolside. If there was one massive takeaway from today's show, it's that sports gods in Northern California are testing our patience. Whether you are looking at John Lynch down in Santa Clara using $7 million emergency band-aid on a wide receiver room that's facing a major injury crisis, or you're watching Mike Dunleavy Jr. in San Francisco betting the house on LeBron James' pipe dream and leaving Steph Curry without a plan B, one thing is absolutely certain of these front offices is playing it safe right now. But now we want to hear from you. Are the 49ers cursed? Or is this just the price of doing business in Kyle Shannon's offense? And is Dunleavy in over his head? Or is he playing the long game beautifully? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button. Smash the like feature if you're riding with us through this chaotic summer. Until next time, keep your drinks cold, keep your takes hot, and we will see you right back here on the pool deck. Peace.